We're gonna go out and rake some hay today. Now, currently I'm just trying to get this thing all lubed up and make sure there's oil in this gearbox. Then we're gonna hit the road with this ancient 256 New Holland rake that seems pretty much unkillable. This is the only piece of farm equipment that I bought used last season for haying, unless I'm forgetting something that I didn't get scammed on in one way or another. And it served me really well last year, so I'm cautiously optimistic here. So this thing, ancient side delivery rake, this thing's probably 2 or 3 times as old as I am. I bet it'll still be running around 100 years from now. There's not much to these things. You can see this drive shaft here, it looks pretty new. That's because I replacified that last season. And the gearbox in this thing, it's a ground-driven rake. It's a really cool, really simple technology. The gearbox on this thing, some people say to put gear oil in it, others will say to give it a couple tubes of grease. Someone told me, I don't know if this is true, but someone told me when New Holland started to make these things, originally they said to use gear oil, then they changed it to grease, and that's why so many people have, so many people believe so many different things here. Like I said, I don't know if that's what actually happened, but last season I put some type of thinner gear oil in this thing, and it just whizzed out oil all over the side of this rake. It was really bad. This time around, however, I gave it some like 80 or 90 weight gear lube, and I don't think it lost a drop the entire trip out to this place, using it and driving back. So last year, though, when it was leaking, I went ahead and bought a seal kit that came with new bearings for this gearbox to rebuildify it. Did not get around to that. It is currently on my desk. It's right here with me as I'm narrating this. So maybe we'll get to that this winter, but it seems to be working just fine for now. This little rake, it's a little too wide to fit on a trailer, so I do have to tow it behind me going out to this place, but it's kind of narrow as far as hay rakes go, so time-wise it's not the most efficient thing in the world, but is it ever reliable and pretty much unkillable. So let's get this thing set up, and we're gonna go rake some hay. 24.5 miles an hour. I like it.
Continue on Fort Market Road 22A south for 3 miles.
That's not intelligent, guy. It makes a very quick time of this journey out to this field. It's already 10 to 11%, at least close to on top here. These windrows, they're kind of small. You know, it's a small mower. This is actually one of its benefits. Man, I could bale this today. I wonder if I have time to run home and get the baler after we rake it. See if this thing's engagified. Yep. I couldn't really tell because that linkage is all like old and sloppy. Use the 3-point thing. We'll start there-ish. Come on, we're in a rut here. Yep, we're doing it. Grapevine. Yep, and we're off. Okay, cool. Drop that down. There, now we're getting most everything. I can control the height of each side individually with those 2 levers. I'm gonna watch this thing and I might have to hop out and do that. But man, look at that. That thing's probably 4 of my lifetimes old at a minimum. Guess we don't need the flashes on anymore. That thing's probably 4 of my lifetimes old at a minimum. Still cranking. That thing's probably gonna outlive me and my eventual kids. Don't know if I want to keep it that long though. Oh yeah, that's better. One side was a little higher than the other, so I had to go out there and fool with it. having this throttle here, but I realize it's the most convenient thing ever because your hand's naturally here, so you just reach down and you can justify it as needed. Also, just got the last bit of this raked up. I will say there is a lot of slop in these pins and this lockout mechanism. This little lever here, when it's engaged, it lets the ground drive thing, you know, ground drive, and when it's disengaged, like, that's for going down the road. All right, hopefully that stays put. Got our trusty bolt. It is one thing I like about this tractor. I've never actually had to clean the screens inside this thing because this catches it all. All right, time to shut the gate on my way out, and we are ready to head out of here. Wow, that went even faster than I was hoping it would. Just gotta make sure there's as much stuff rolling around on the floor so as to jam under the clutch as possible. Yep, it's not turning. We'll raise that 3-point a little bit. Man, I have a feeling, not that I actually know what I'm talking about because I've never actually run a round baler before. That's what's going to make tomorrow so interesting. I have a feeling this is going to roll up really nice if the baler functions. That is the big question. I don't know, I'm pretty anxious. You know, it's like I said in another video, everybody's heard of such a thing as a good use square baler. I have a personal theory that Bigfoot farms with it though, because everybody talks about it, but I've never actually seen one. Stay with me, little rake. This is one reason why I have the size of equipment I do. That, and I have yet to actually make any money at this, so I can't buy bigger stuff yet, but it sure is nice to be able to fit down little pathways like this. I think there used to be some buildings up in here. That looks like a shed that fell down. There's a shed that's about to fall down back that way, and then there's this trash pile here. It looks like it might have been a house or something at one point, or somebody's cabin perhaps. I told the guy if he gathers up all the scrap metal and lets me know, I'll stop by and pick it up. Don't think he has though. Yeah, it's a little uncomfortably close, but we made it. Oh boy, wow, this is already, you know, yesterday when I mowed here, I did this field first, and I went back and did those fields, and there was a huge noticeable difference in color just from that little bit of time, maybe 2 hours or something. And today it's the same thing, and it's been even less time. And I mean, that looks, shoot, I wish it wasn't already 3:30. If I trusted the baler, I'd be willing to come out here and roll this up tonight, but I don't, so I'm assuming there's going to be some tinkering with it that's going to have to be done, so that is going to be tomorrow's adventure. So, assuming that I make it home in one piece with this here rig and it doesn't lose a wheel, that'll be a pretty successful day. And I am so anxious, you guys can probably tell, I am so anxious to see how this is going to turn out tomorrow. Man, this is like first date ever level of anxiety, you know, back in high school or whatever. That is a real, natural, genuine grapevine growing on that fence, and it's full of real, natural, genuine fire ants too. Yeah, I think this is workable. Smells pretty awesome. Don't really know what the heck I'm doing, but I'm figuring this out as I go. And if nothing else, at least I can, for the time being, count on that little 256 rake. We got an absolutely beautiful day out here. And you know, I topped off the tractor fuel-wise before I left, and it is just now starting to, the amount of fuel it's used is just starting to register here a little bit. So it's completely cool to the touch. Tiny bit warmer than ambient temperature. And these hubs, even though they're all slopped out and everything, totally cool. And they were totally cool when I got here after cruising on the road. If anything was gonna overheat them, would have been that. So man, how about that? I'm digging this little rake.